So when people think about retirement, what are some of the hidden dangers that they may not be fully aware of?
One is the answer to the question, where does meaning come from? And a lot of people want to say things like meaning comes from my children or meaning comes from what it turns out in the brain, meaning comes from very specific things that we know what we're actually talking about. One of the things meaning comes from is your ability to lean into and accomplish long-term challenges. Things that are 2 years in development, 5 years in development. It took me 3 years to work to this promotion or 2 years to launch this product. The brain understands those are like, you gain a lot of skills. And those things, like when you have a lot of those over time, that's the feeling of a life well lived. That's how we feel. That's one of the things that gives us a life well. There's other stuff, there's interpersonal stuff, and there's all that. Don't get me wrong, but this is part of the calculation that people don't think about. You wanted hidden dangers of retirement. One of the other things about it is the way I always phrase it colloquially is we need a mission. Always need a mission. Because in a mission, you're going to go a hell of a lot farther and harder than you're going to do if you just got a hobby, right? I got a hobby. Okay. No, I'm on a mission. It's a totally different thing. And you bring it's a different gear. You need to be on a mission. And that's one of the things that work gave us. Maybe it wasn't a mission you're choosing. Cool. Okay. Now you have time to have missions of your own choosing. That's even better for a bunch of like neuroprotective reasons, but you can't. That's one of the great dangers of retirement, I think. I also think it's just the lack of stimulation across the board is really what it is. But the advantage, where it gets really interesting and like the hidden opportunity, is in the physicality. So I said that if you want to regularly engage in dynamic activities, right? What is dynamic? Dynamic is a shorthand term that means any activity that involves strength, stamina, flexibility, balance, and agility, which are 5 physical use-or-lose-it skills. And as we age, we have to train all 5 over time. In fact, the World Health Organization has very explicit guidelines for peak performance aging, right? It's 150 to 300 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity every week, 2 strength training days, 3 balance, agility, and flexibility days. And if you're really training those things, it's about an hour and a half of work 5 days a week, or you find a single activity, action sports, that bundle all these things together. The Mayo Clinic study, it was a 20-year review. I can't remember where they got their data from. The Copenhagen Heart Study, that famous heart, right? They took it 20 years of data and they wanted to know what sports correlate to the most longevity. And tennis tops the list, right? You play tennis regularly, it adds 9 years to your life. With the tennis, badminton is 7. And then all the stuff people are talking about, like swimming, is down there at like 3, right? Nobody's talking about badminton for longevity. And so what is that about? It's about dynamic motion. And what's the big deal with dynamic motion? 2 things, because we were talking earlier about how do you protect the brain. One of the reasons exercise is so important is it protects the brain, but it's dynamic exercise. When you have to coordinate balance and agility essentially with strength and stamina, when all 3 have to come together at the same time, it amplifies angiogenesis and neurogenesis. The birth of new blood vessels in the brain and the birth of new neurons in the brain are amplified by dynamic activity significantly. So you're not just protecting all the body, the use it or lose it skills, you're actually protecting the brain. You're building new blood vessels to get oxygen to the new brain cells that you're producing.